Hebrew lesson, April 30th for the Zoom, part 3. Shalom, shalom. So Abram's faith, according to Galatians, right, is the saving faith that a Christian has. Abraham's belief, I should say, right, his faith, we say, but in the verse in Genesis 15:6 that I just showed you, it says Abram believed, right? So we believe, and as we believe like Abram, we enter into saving faith the same as Abram did. So let's go to Galatians. And in Galatians chapter 3, he's talking to the Galatian church. And he says, even as this is verse 6, even as Abraham believed God and it was accounted to him for righteousness, know you therefore that they which are of faith, the same are the children of Abraham. And the scripture foreseeing that God would justify the heathen, that's the same word as Gentile in the Hebrew, the Gentiles through faith, preached before the gospel unto Abraham, saying, in these shall all nations be blessed. So then they which be of faith are blessed with faithful Abraham. And there's other passages in the New Testament as well, and I'm expecting that a lot of my audience will be familiar with those various passages. But what I wanted to show you is that when it says Abraham believed, and you may not be aware of this, but we're speaking of Hebrew roots. So the root word, Amen, the three consonant root, if you remember, was Aleph, Mem, Nun, which is strong water on the seed. So God gives us the word, which is the seed. And when we agree, when we give our yes to the Lord, we say Amen, and we're putting strong water in the seed, or you could say, since the letter Aleph sometimes stands for God, you could say God waters the seed. So every time we say Amen, God waters the seed. But this word believed is actually, in the Hebrew, the word Aman. And if you remember how we did it with the English song and sing and so on, right? We changed the vowel, but the three consonant root remained the same. So when we're dealing with Aman, it's the same three consonant root. God waters the seed, or strong water on the seed, is Aman, but instead of Amen, it's Aman. You see the vowel here changes, right? See, if you get stuck with the vowels here, here's a good tool for you to see. If I go into a Google search, right? Now, most of the time this is accurate. If you want to be really safe with it, what you do is you check 2 or 3 sources, right? So if I type in something like Hebrew word Amen, I find usually it's fairly accurate just doing this. If you want to be quick about it, if you really want to research, you can go further. But see, when I click on images under my Google search, see, here's Amen with the vowels, Amen with the vowels, Amen with the vowels, right? There's the Arabic for Amen with the vowel. It's a quick Google search will help you. It's going to be the ah sound, right? Aman. So it's probably a patak and a kamatz. And this one here is a kamatz and a zere. So Amen and Aman. Now, what we're developing here is a root word that occurs in 2 different forms, and it's 2 different words, but they're related words, remember? As we were saying about sing and song and singer and so on, a similar thing happens, except even stronger in the Hebrew. And sometimes you even get words that would not seem related in the English, but it's the same Hebrew root. So we know that Amen means agree. In this basic root, the Aleph, the Mem, and the Nun, strong water on the seed, or God waters the seed. So our agreement is a basic component of this basic concept of believing, right? And we know this from Genesis 15:6 means to believe, and it's the same exact three consonant roots. So the pictographic meaning, the numerical value, everything is exactly the same. Which, by the way, the numerical value, we're not going to go off on that tangent right now, but if you wanted to do some exploring, right, you simply add the letters. So Aleph is 1, Mem is 40, and Nun is 50, so it's 91. And it would be likewise 91 for Amen, same three consonants. You don't count the vowels when you do numerical values. And then there's a third word here that has the same root, and this one has a little suffix on the end of it. And this is the word that means faith. And matter of fact, if you go in a Jewish community, you'll find some of the synagogues, and the name on the sign will say Bet, or if sometimes if they're certain Ashkenazi dialect, they might put Beth. Same word, it's house, Bet. So it's the Hebrew letter Bet. And then you have Bet Emunah, house of faith. That'll be the name of a synagogue, or a lot of Jewish organizations. So that's what that means, house of faith, right? The of, when you have two nouns together like that, is implied in the Hebrew. So emunah is faith. And this is what emunah looks like in the Hebrew. So you got a letter Aleph, right, which is the first letter of the consonant root. Then you've got a letter Mem. So we see that's the second letter of the consonant root. And if I'm putting the vowels in, it looks like this. It's a vowel you probably don't recognize, but it's eh. It's a sound eh. Then you've got a vav. So you've got an extra letter, a consonant letter, but in this case, the vav's working as a vowel carrier. So it's that sound oo and moo, right? And then you've got the Nun. Now remember, the final Nun looks like up here, but the Nun in the middle of the word looks like this. So there's your Nun with a little kamatz underneath, so it's a na sound. And then you've got a hey, right? So emunah, emunah. And the emphasis is usually on the last syllable for 9 times out of 10 when you're pronouncing Hebrew words, so it's emunah. And you've got 5 for the hey. You've got 50 for the Nun. You've got 6 for the vav. You've got 40 for the mem. And you've got 1 for the Aleph. And when I add all those together, it changes the numerical value to 102. Right? 55, 61, 101, 102. There you go. 102 is emunah. Now, pictographically, what you're looking at is what? The Aleph, right? Which we could interpret as either God or strong, either one. We've got water, right? So we've still got strong water, or God waters, right? And then we still have seed. We've got the original root, but in between the water and the seed now, we have the vav, which the vav is a nail. And the vav actually in the Hebrew works as the word and. When we put vav as a prefix in front of a word in Hebrew, it's the word and. And what it does is it connects two things together. So in this word, what is the vav connecting together? The water and the seed. So here you have God watering the seed, or strong water in the seed. Here in Emunah, you have the water and the seed are connected. So one way I might say that is the water has saturated the seed. It's no longer just watering the seed, but the seed has soaked up all the water and has become saturated with water. So when the seed reaches the saturation point, then you get hay. And what is hay? The letter hay is to reveal, but it means several things. The letter hay is a very interesting letter. And the letter hay means fruitfulness. The letter hay is how you make a masculine word feminine. So for example, up top here, if I write the word dog, D-A-G, dog, that's masculine, fish. But if I say daga and add a hay on the end, you get a feminine fish. So hay has the meaning of fruitfulness or bearing fruit. So what you have here is strong water, or God's water connects to the seed or saturates the seed, which brings forth fruit. That's the meaning of emunah. And one other place that comes to mind, was Abraham and Sarah, right? Maybe you've seen my post on this, but Abram and Sarai both had name changes. Now, in the case of Sarai, God had to subtract a yod. The last letter in her name, her old name, was a yod, and he took the yod away. But then what God did is he added a hey to Abram's name, and he added a hey to Sarah's name. One hey to both of their names. And what this was the context of their ministry going global. They had a local ministry, and when it turned global, God changed their name, inserted a hey in both of their name. Now, with Abraham, he put it in the middle, and with Sarai, he put it at the end. So when the hey is at the end, that's the feminine with Sarai. When the hey is in a masculine name like that, it's in the middle of the word. So Abraham means Abraham became very fruitful, and Sarah became very fruitful. So they went to a global ministry. Pretty cool, right? So I did want to show you something concerning the numerical value. I'm not going deep into it, but I do find it interesting. So for example, we said that Aman and Amen both have a numerical value of 91, because we add according to the consonants, not the vowels, right? And I was looking up to see what other word has a numerical value of 91, and the one I found was this one. And it has to do with Enoch and Elohim. So Elohim with the hey on the beginning of it. There's that hey again, right? And in this case, hey, when it's in the beginning of a word, is the prefix that means the. So the Elohim. Now, what you have here, Elohim, this is a mem, that's 40. The yod is 10. The hey is 5. The lamet's 30. The aleph is 1. So 55, 85, 86. So 86 is the number of Elohim. But when you put the hey in front of it, you get an extra 5. So you get 91. So this is the way numerical values work. When you find this in a certain verse, and in this case it's in Genesis 5:22, you don't just get Elohim by itself, but you get Elohim with the hey prefix on it, fruitful prefix, the word the. And so that's in Genesis 5:22. Let's turn to that in the eSword. So eSword, Genesis 5:22. And what we get here is a verse about Enoch. So Enoch walked with God after he begat Methuselah 300 years and begat sons and daughters. So Enoch walked with God. It's in that phrase that we get this Ha Elohim, which is a numerical value of 91, the same as Amen. And you can see that as Enoch is walking with God, he's in belief, he's in faith, he's saying yes, he's amening. So as Enoch walked with God, that has a value of 91. Very interesting, I think. This is the end of part 3, April 30th, the Zoom Hebrew lesson. Shalom, shalom.